Hi everybody. First I want to start out with Who Day. So I don't know if you're going to see this before or after the Super Bowl, but it's the Friday before. So let's bring our Cincinnati Tigers in and tap into a little of that Lawrenceburg Tiger that we got going on and have some Ram for dinner Sunday night, okay? So 7th Street Gifts, family owned and operated, a small brick and mortar apothecary shop established in 1999. And thankful and grateful for the Friends of the Library and Lawrenceburg Public Library for sponsoring our Make It and Take It Year of Stones and Crystals kits. And mostly you for expressing interest in registering and coming in and getting your collection of stones and crystals. So for the second month of 2022 to 2022, February, we're going to celebrate the just stunningly beautiful amethyst. So this is just kind of a must-have for any stone collection. Most of us are familiar with this, and several, if not all, probably have a little piece of it in a precious piece of jewelry or a little special something, a trinket of sorts that you already have at home. So the word amethyst itself comes from the Greek word amethystos or thistos, which means sober or sobriety. And it's oftentimes called the sobriety stone. And it's used to maintain or abstain from, like we would think like to maintain sobriety, but also more just like a sober mind with clear thought. So it doesn't necessarily mean that sobriety that we would maybe apply to like an addiction or something. It certainly can. But I think the Greek root was more just to maintain a clear and even thinking mind and not be clouded. And oftentimes we know when we introduce ourselves to drink or other things that would cloud your thought or your mind. So with this in mind, it's oftentimes used for the third eye or the crown chakras, which would be for the thought, right? And then the evolution or the higher self. So you'll oftentimes see it in chakra jewelry. The third eye and the crown chakra, there's kind of some debate in the world of chakras. They can be interchanged to a light purple to a clear quartz, but I commonly see amethyst applied to either or of these chakras. And that would make sense because it's all in the thought process and kind of like in your head space, right? So it's also known and very commonly for like metaphysical or mystical properties as an aid for sweet dreams and to protect against unwanted or intrusive thoughts. Again, to promote or induce clarity, mental clarity, and clean thinking. And then how we discussed, we were going to start to build on our collection and just one little bit at a time introduce ideas and concepts for uses for stones and crystals other than just enjoying their beautifulness and adoring ourselves with jewelry and things of that nature. And one of those things that you could look into more on your own, and I will reintroduce the idea on the topic as we progress into the year, is the idea of making elixirs. And an elixir can generally a water, but it can also be a tea or an herbal infusion that is charged with the healing power or property of a stone or crystal. Now, amethyst is a member of the quartz family. So when you're beginning to experiment or explore the idea of elixirs, anytime you use anything from the quartz family, that's a really safe and beginning way to introduce things that you would potentially ingest or drink into your body without concern of, getting sick or introducing something unwanted or dangerous into your drink. And other ideas that would kind of promote the idea of elixirs and the healing power of water and how you can charge or infuse and raise intentional vibrations of water. There's an author named M. Emoto, and he has a lot of books, and the main one is The Healing Power of Water, and then he has a lot of spin-offs. But he does studies on water in controlled scientific labs and environments where he'll treat one glass of water one way, and then he'll treat another glass of water another way, differently. But the water is the same, the environment's the same, the temperature's the same, the amount of water, the source of the water, where they got the glass from, the size of the glass. It's completely controlled, except the only difference is he may introduce an amethyst crystal into one glass of water or even next to it. And then do absolutely nothing to the other glass of water. And then he'll take the water and put it under a microscope. And he puts it under a microscope first, too, before it's exposed to the amethyst or not. And then he'll look at the molecular structure of the water, and it is altered by the vibration and the frequency of the amethyst into beautiful, ornate, like snowflake-like crystals. So again, it's just fascinating, and if you wanted to learn more about it, look up his books, and a lot of things are online, and I wouldn't be surprised if the library didn't have it, or you could request it through interlibrary loan, or request to purchase a request on the topic of healing powers of water and elixirs. So amethyst continued is when you find an amethyst, and could you imagine being so lucky as to be walking around and seeing a big geode and cracking it open, and then there'd be this in the center of it? But generally our amethysts do come from the center of geodes. So when you're looking for them or hunting them, they don't look pretty like this. You have to have a real eye and a trained skill set to know what to look for. And then you get the geodes and you crack them open. And when you crack them open, this is what's in the center of it. And that's very common in the quartz family, is to be found in the center of geodes. And the raw geode pieces that are like yours, that haven't been cut, faceted, or tumbled or polished, but they're just in their true natural state, are often called drusies. So when you hear somebody say, I have a druzy amethyst or a druzy crystal, they mean like this quartz cluster and point that hasn't really been adulterated or changed much by man, and it's more in its natural prismatic state. And the points that these form are all nature-based. So this is not, other than being mined and found by man, this is in its true unadulterated state that was found in the center of a geode. These most likely were sourced from Brazil, but I know amethyst is found in the United States, in Arkansas and Colorado. We just happen to get most of ours from Brazil through our distributor. So with your druzy, and that's what that's called, the reason it gets this beautiful purple color and turns it to an amethyst instead of just a crystal quartz is it's infused with manganese and iron. And these two minerals infuse into what would generally be just a crystal quartz or a clear quartz, and that's what gives it its beautiful purple hue. And then you'll see that there are variations, and I'm sure you've also seen in jewelry, you can see very deep, almost bluish purple amethyst to almost pale, basically like a pastel purple, almost white or clear, to in between. So the variations in color are just affected by the amount of minerals and iron that are infused into the quartz. So generally speaking, it's a very hard and easy to cut piece of quartz, and it's easy to tumble, facet, and polish. And so it's very easy to turn into jewelry, and its color makes it something desirable that we would all want to wear into jewelry anyway. So that's one reason why it's so commonly found, is certainly because of its beautiful color and its abundance. In the world of quartz and crystals and minerals, it's generally pretty abundant compared to other things. And the fact that it is easy to cut, tumble, and facet make it an ideal go-to for jewelry making. And that includes fine jewelry making too, not just like costume or fun jewelry. Again, most of us know this, but just to reiterate and why we chose it for the month of February, it is the traditional birthstone for February. And then I meant to say this last month and I forgot, but a lapidary is somebody who cuts and creates gemstones for fine jewelry. So like if you found some amethyst or had a piece of amethyst druzy, you could take it to a jeweler or a lapidary, and they would appraise and determine whether or not it could be cut and faceted and turned into a finer piece of jewelry or mounted into something. I just found that fascinating and a really cool word and vocab that I wanted to share, because it certainly applies to not only last month's garnet, but this month's February and on through the rest of the year. So just ideas and suggestions for your druzy, right, which is the name of this raw quartz that was found from the center of a geode of amethyst, is to explore more about elixirs and see if you, if anything kind of identifies or hits for you when you read more about elixirs. You could add it to a plant or a garden. It really looks pretty in a little windowsill garden or just the plant that you have. You could certainly explore with the idea of jewelry, just wire wrapping yourself. Stone cages, hemp, the macrame that's happening right now, where people macrame those really cool little pouches around stones and crystals, all the way to fine lapidary jewelry. If you have somebody who has an eye or have a connection, you could have yours looked at and just see what they have to say. I've seen some pretty new to me, maybe not to other people, ideas where folks make these beautiful sage smudge sticks and cleansing bundles of aromatic herbs like clary sage and mint and white sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and they incorporate the druzies into their sage bundles where they gather it and then bind with a thread that's usually easy to light and go up in smoke, and then they'll wrap their amethyst druzy or quartz crystal or point around it, and it really adds a level of just beauty and art to the truly the art of making really nice sage bundles and sweetgrass braids. They look really pretty, incorporated into that art and craft of making cleansing smokes. And then also just on an altar or as a meditation tool or as a reminder. And again, we said sobriety can mean many things. It certainly would mean to abstain from drink or something that would alter your state of mind, but also it just means to be free of intrusive thoughts and to keep a clear, level-headed mind and think about all the right things, right? So sobriety can mean more than just one thing. So when you get your amethyst this month, when you come into the library and pick it up from Denise or whoever's nice enough to hand it to you, it'll be in a brown paper bag like this, kind of oversized. Probably have a business card and a brochure in there with a list of all our other stones and crystals and contact if you ever wanted to email or call me with any questions or follow-up ideas or suggestions. And then your druzy in there and then sealed and turned over. And then, oh, I know what I forgot. We're also going to slide in your Amethyst Handout. And I forgot to bring that today, so when I get home, I'm going to send it. Denise is going to be nice enough to print them for us all and slide them into your take-home bag. So you'll have a little factoid sheet similar to Garnet. And if you didn't see it last month, it's just a little sheet with some references of just some fun ideas and facts about the amethyst. And then for next month, for the month of March, my birth month, we're going to do Aquamarine. And Aquamarine is the traditional birthstone for March, and it's generally, or truly actually a mineral. It's not actually considered a stone or a crystal, it's a mineral. They're pretty expensive, so we have them, but they're going to be similar to your garnet in the sense that they're going to be beautiful and tumbled and weighty and dense, but they're probably going to be about the size between a nickel and a quarter, maybe even some dime-sized ones that would be like a pea, like a nice little round marble shape. And they'll be in a smaller wax envelope, and then we'll explore the idea of aquamarines for March next month. So until then, enjoy your beautiful amethyst druzy. Another thanks to the Lawrenceburg Public Library and the Friends for sponsoring. And keep 7th Street Gifts and Minds for your stones and crystals. And let's hope we talk about how we won the Super Bowl when we talk next month. All right? Bye, guys.